Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TBTV8's coverage of Week 9 of high school football. Tonight, the Lee Summit Tigers, 4-4, are taking on the 1-7 Truman Patriots. Kyle, what are you looking forward to in tonight's matchup after Lee Summit took that tough loss last week against Liberty North?
Well, for the Tigers, I'm going to be looking at their offensive line. Truman's defensive line has been pretty good all season, getting some sacks where and when they can. So if the offensive line can step up, leave time for Darius Pearsall, you know what he can do with his receivers. It's going to be touchdowns all night for the Tigers.
Tonight, a little bit less of a scary opponent coming into this one. Last week, going up against the undefeated Liberty North Eagles, and then tonight, coming in against a 1-7 opponent. You can never underestimate your opponent, though. The Tigers, a 500 season so far, 4-4. They need this win. It'll help them dramatically whenever we come into the end of the year tournaments, districts, conference, things like that. So Lee Summit getting a win tonight and by a big margin would help them drastically. Huffman will get us started tonight here with a boot downfield. It'll go back into the end zone for a touchback. So the Patriots will start things out at the 20. Kyle, what are you looking forward to tonight from the Patriots side of things?
Well, Patriots, if you can look at their bench, it's not very deep, so they're going to need their starters to step up in a big way. Lee Summit's defense and corners and secondary, such as Jackson Fry, 3 interceptions on the year. Thomas Smith with 2. Landon Willis with another 2. Their secondary knows how to pick off, and with the undersized quarterback that Truman has, I think they'll be able to get some picks tonight.
The Patriots line up here for the first time tonight, dropping back to pass on the first play. They go to the left side of the field. The Tigers are there in coverage. No flag is down. It will be an incomplete pass here to start things out. So the Patriots will be looking here at a 2nd and 10 on their first drive.
Jackson was just able to reach up and knock the ball away from A.J. Geitzen, a junior there, only 5'10". Jackson 6 feet. Bit of a matchup there. We'll be looking at them, I'm sure. That'll be Truman's one of their targets tonight.
Something that you do look in at a game like this is the size differentials. Whenever you've got a team that is at a lower record, sometimes you look at that size and you see that there's some younger guys, some smaller guys out there, which is definitely the case here for Truman. Anderson hands it off this time. Tigers are there to cut it down at the line. Good run there and a tackle on the play by Tyler Terrence.
Tyler Terrence has been a solid captain for the Tigers this year. He's a good leader for them. As a linebacker, been able to stop the run game, making an impact there, bringing up a 3rd, and what looks to be 8 yards to go for the Truman Patriots.
Good run there. 3rd and 8. Anderson with a man behind him in the backfield. Snap and dropping back to pass again. He's got a man over to the right-hand side, but it falls incomplete once more. So the Patriots now will bring out the punting unit on their first drive. It'll be 4th and 8, and Landon Willis will get his first chance to bring one back tonight for the Tigers.
I think what we just saw there is a sophomore QB kind of making a rookie mistake there. His wide receiver had some space to work with, but I think the quarterback there was just trying to fire the ball away quick. He did so and missed his mark, and it's going to allow the Tiger offense to get their hands on the ball for the first time tonight.
So the Patriots dropping back, ready to punt. Snap goes okay. Punt's a little low, little line drive. Willis lets it bounce back behind him. He won't pick it up. So the Patriots will go ahead and mark it down at about the 42-yard line. So the Tigers starting off on their own 42 tonight. We'll get our first look at Missouri State commit Darius Pearsall as he leads this team full of weapons downfield here for the first time tonight for Lee Summit.
One of the things the Tigers offense has done really well on is that when they work with the short field, they are in much better position to score that touchdown. Against the Belton game, we saw 4 touchdowns that came with them having field position with 50 yards or less. So we'll be looking for them to capitalize on the short field this time.
Pearsall, the lone man in the backfield, several receivers out there for him, obviously looking to pass. He's got Manning downfield. Manning keeps a hold of it and is pushed out of bounds at around the 43 on the other side of the field. So the Tigers with success on their first play, just as they had last week against Liberty North. Pearsall, a dual threat quarterback, can do it with his legs or his arm, that time choosing the arm. Again, the lone man in the backfield is Pearsall. Looks over to Morse, fires one back over to Manning, and the screen pass doesn't work that time. No block from Belt. Leaves Micah Manning wrapped up in the backfield.
right there, we saw the Truman Patriots defensive line. Darius Pearsall is just going to have to dump it away. Britt Robinson, a defensive lineman for the Patriots, was all over Pearsall. Didn't get the sack, but definitely already kind of rupturing that offensive line there for the Tigers.
Handoff here goes to Mate. No, Pearsall keeps it himself, goes to the right-hand side. We mentioned him being a dual-threat quarterback, and he shows it here. A touchdown for Lee Summit early in the first quarter, making it 6-0 with only 10:30 left. Darius Pearsall with a run of 39 yards. You don't see that a lot out of quarterbacks. We see it here out of Pearsall.
You're exactly right. We do not see that a lot out of quarterbacks, and most of them probably would have just slid down, maybe get the first down 10, 15 yards, but not for Pearsall. He's not afraid to take that hit. He marched down the field and scored the first touchdown for the
last few weeks. He stays perfect. PAT splits the uprights there, so the Tigers will take a 7-0 lead early on in the first quarter.
And it's always good to get the lead. Loud crowd gets in it, cheer. Tigerettes, you can't underestimate home field advantage. And they're going to be looking for a win here to put them in better position as far as districts to get the playoff home field advantage there. But we're going to see the defense step on. They are perfect, causing a 3-and-out. See if they allow a first down on this drive.
Being that this is the last regular season game of the year, you'll hear us talk a lot about that postseason picture, especially from Lee Summit's side of things. If it's your first time tuning into one of our broadcasts, we are representing Lee Summit High School with TBTV8 Sports. I'm Jordan Wood. Kyle Cumberland joins me as my color commentator. Josh Walker handles the graphics normally for us. Luke Rule doing that tonight. Josh Walker running the camera. Huffman back, ready to kick it off. It's a high one again. Traditionally, Huffman likes to hit that end zone with his kickoffs, and he does it again here.
When you got a solid kicker, it just makes everything easier when you can rely on your special teams to be consistent. And Huffman has been a constant piece for the Tigers, and it's been good so far tonight.
So here comes Truman once again. Had to punt on 4th and 8 in their first possession. Lee Summit managed to stop their first drive pretty easily. We've seen the defense step it up a couple notches here in these last couple weeks. Last week they had to play against a solid Liberty North team, which is why you see so many points being put up against Lee Summit last week. But they did a good job on that first drive. Anderson in the backfield. Handoff goes up the middle. A flag drops the play dead before it even has a chance to get off the ground. Mylan Townsend was starting to bust it up the middle there before whistles blew. It'll be a delay of game on the Patriots. Kyle, we saw a lot of penalties last week. Are you looking for the Tigers to maybe just play a cool, calm approach to this game to try to avoid some of those penalties that they were picking up in weeks previously?
Absolutely. You saw the offense and just the confidence they had in that first drive. I expect them to just play the football they like to play, don't play it sloppy, and negate the penalties that they had last week.
Anderson in the backfield here on 1st and 15. Hands it up the middle. It's Townsend. Gets about 5 yards there. Getting back to the original line of scrimmage is where he will be marked down at the 20. So just under 10-20. 2nd and 10 now for the Patriots.
Able to pick up a couple downs or a couple yards running the ball. That rush game will be critical for the Patriots tonight, as their passing game has not been on par with that rush game.
Townsend's a big boy in that backfield. 250 pounds. You don't see that a lot at the high school level. Townsend rolling out to his right. He's got a man over to the right-hand side. It's tipped and picked off by Lee Summit. The referees do give it to the Tigers. That ball was tipped, and it stayed in the air for about 5 seconds until a Tiger was finally able to get there. And the Tigers very quickly spoil another Truman drive.
It bounced off the helmet of the Patriots receiver right into Landon Wilson's hands. He had to make a play there. And after the referee gave him the call, it's all hype from the Tigers sideline as the offense steps on with an even shorter field to work with now.
We saw how easily they managed to get upfield in their last drive. We'll see here how they're able to handle this Truman defense once again. Pearsall, the lone man in the backfield. He's got a man open to the right-hand side. Pump fakes one, finds a man over the middle. And the Tigers will get the ball inside the 20 there.
That's exactly what you want to see from your offensive line. Nate Morris was just able to go across. Pearsall had time, looked patient in the pocket there, waited for the play to develop, and made a good pass for a first down.
A good job done so far by Lee Summit's offensive line. Pearsall again, the lone man in the backfield. Scanning the field, looking over to the left-hand side. He's got Ryan Belt. Ryan Belt has space. He tiptoes his way in there. He's going to be marked down at about the 2-yard line.
I don't know if I like the spot there by the referees. It looked like he definitely had reached the ball over the pylon there, but nonetheless, they have first and goal, and Pearsall will await the call here. Might be going to Belt, but they do have Manning as an option as well.
Pearsall looks like will still be the lone man in the backfield unless they send a man in motion. Micah Manning had a big week running the ball last week. Haven't seen a whole lot out of him from the running back position to this point. Pearsall taking himself again, and he has his second rushing touchdown of the night with only 3 minutes played here in the first quarter. So we up here in the booth will jump again at the sound of the loud cannons, as the Tigers have quickly put more points on the board than they did entirely last week against Liberty North.
I don't know if that's a stat we should be saying up here, but nonetheless, the Tigers executing on both their drives. We've had 4 possession changes within 3 minutes. This defense is really putting in the work to get the offense in positions to score.
We're not seeing the Tigers let off the gas pedal. They know that if they can get some points on the board tonight as well as a win, they set themselves up for a better spot in that playoff picture. Maybe not having to go up against such a difficult opponent. Huffman, Mr. Consistency these last couple weeks. He does it again, splitting the uprights, making it 14-0 here early on in the first.
Talk about trying to get yourself an easier opponent. That's exactly what they're trying to do. If the playoffs were to start today, they'd have to go against Ray Peck, who've been phenomenal. They have an average of 40.36 points per game, and that's going to be tough for the Tigers to face. So this win tonight allows them to face an easier opponent and allows them to go deeper in the playoffs.
We've already mentioned Liberty North a couple of times in this stream already. Liberty North 8-0, averaging an incredible 46.6 points per game. And there's no wonder that they're at the top of top of the standings here for the Class 6 Division or District 4. Huffman back, ready to kick it off again. High, booming one, and back into the end zone once again. So another touchback here for Huffman. He's 3 for 3 on the night in that regard as well.
Yes, he is 3 for 3. Huffman, I've already complimented him earlier here, but I also want to compliment the Lee Summit defense. They've been phenomenal so far tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if they get another turnover here, but you can only expect them to stop the run game and the pass game, and they've done that so far very well tonight.
We haven't seen a whole lot of production out of the arm of Zane Anderson. We've seen a couple of interceptions, or a couple of incompletions and an interception to this point. So here at 1st and 10, Anderson in the backfield, hands it off. It'll be Townsend up the middle. He tries to get a couple extra yards, throwing the ball over his shoulder there. It's hard to bring a big guy like that down. As I mentioned before, 6'2", 250 pounds for the senior. 2nd and 6 now. Tigers up 14-0 here. About 8:45 left in the first quarter. It'll be Anderson in the backfield, still joined by Townsend. 2 receivers out to his right. Handoff goes to Townsend up the middle again. And it looks like he got the first down there, as well as his helmet popping off. And it will be a first down. For the first time tonight, the Patriots will move the chains.
You can hear from the loud crowd, LSD, the chant they like to do to get the defense into the game. Truman Patriots, you can see their quarterback every single play. He's got to run over to the sidelines to get the call from the coach, and it looks like it's going to be timeout on the Patriots here as they just couldn't get the call off quick enough.
We did see that delay of game earlier on from the Patriots, that time just taking the safe option, calling a timeout, and wanting to avoid that delay of game there.
They do not want have another delay of game penalty. Penalties were killer for the Tigers last week in their game against Liberty North. Truman trying to avoid a similar mistake. We have 8:09 remaining. Less than 4 minutes of football has been played, but you wouldn't know it from the score, 14-0 Tigers. As Truman's going to have to come up with a pretty big game plan because they still have a lot of field to go.
The big expectation going into this one was going to be a huge win for Lee Summit. And it's already shaping up to be that way here early on in this one. 14-0 our score. The Patriots' only win on the year came against St. Joe, who the Tigers thumped 50-0 a couple of weeks ago here at Bud Herzog Stadium. So we'll see Anderson again in the backfield, still joined by Townsend. Looked like a man might have jumped off sides there for the Tiger. The snap is a little low, no flag thrown. And Udike gets in the backfield there just to tap Anderson and make sure that they don't pick that ball up and move. This will be second down and a long ways to go here, nearly negating that first down altogether.
Jordan, you said the Patriots had their first win all season against St. Joe. That was their first win in 2 years. They were extremely excited about it. And they gotta be when you don't have a program that has a lot of depth in their football, still trying to grow that aspect. And they're just looking to go out and try their best tonight.
That's all you can really do against a team that, you know, you're coming in with a David and Goliath type situation here, the Tigers being the Goliath. Wisner in the backfield there nearly forces an error from the quarterback. It'll be a little screen pass to the left-hand side of the field, but nothing much out of it there from Drake Hockley.
That was a good job from Anderson not to take the sack, able to extend the play. Only got like 2 yards, or 3 yards, but it's better than taking the sack and looking at a 3rd and 20, 3rd and 13. It'll be long. They seem to have a better rushing game than passing, but they're going to have to probably pick it up through the air if they pick it up at all.
Play clock running down now at about 15 seconds. See a break here finally. Anderson and Townsend still the two in the backfield. Anderson looking to pass, and Udike chasing behind him. Kaya Tupino coming in for help, throws it right into the arms of Lawan Miller. Shaking and baking his way up the field, getting away from a couple extra people, and gets the ball inside the 20 for Lee Summit.
Lawan almost looked giddy with the ball in his hands. I mean, he was moving, shaking, as you said. He was trying to get to that end zone, able to get a few yards. And every single drive has just gotten shorter and shorter for the Tigers. Offense might as well just tap it in at this point, because you know, with Darius Pierce on the weapons he has, it's almost a guaranteed touchdown.
I don't really blame Anderson there for that pass to the other team. When you've got Felix Anudike chasing you from behind, then you see Kaya Tupino come up from the front.
Just throw it away at that point.
That's a scary situation for sure. Micah Manning here in motion. Pearsall in the backfield with him. Handoff, no, fake handoff. They'll go to Landon over the middle. It's Landon Shepard. A touchdown for the Tigers, and they've increased their lead 20-0 with 6:23 remaining here in the first quarter, and the Candons boom one more time for Lee Summit.
Landon Shepard was a consistent target last week against Liberty North, one of the highlights out of a dark storm that came from the Tigers. He was able to score there from a good pass from Darius Pearsall. So far, offense, defense, looked like Lee Summit was prepared for this one.
Huffman on for the PAT, and once again splits the uprights 21-0. We'll take a quick break here, listen to a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Today is a new day. A day we've been waiting for our whole lives. We've put in the work to get to this moment, to have this opportunity to come together as a team. Everyone knows KC is on the rise, but what they don't know is we're just getting started.
Community America, powering the rise of Kansas City.
21-0 our score now here from Bud Herzog Stadium in Week 9, the last game of the regular season. Lee Summit very early on in this one, storming out to a huge lead. The Tigers were expecting a win coming into this one. Obviously, you hope for one every week, but especially in this scenario when you're going up against an opponent that doesn't pose much of a threat. Huffman back ready to kick it off. It's a high one and going back towards the end zone again, so the Patriots will let it fall back for a touchback.
Special teams here has also been solid for the Tigers. The Patriots got their first down of the night after that last drive, mainly picking it up with their running back, and Milan Townsend. He's a senior, also plays defensive end, but he's a scary guy, 6'2", 250 pounds, almost like a Kayat Pino if I had to relate him to one of the Tigers, but he's going to be in the backfield working, trying to get some yards against that tough linebacking core, that front seven that the Tigers do have.
A little bit taller and a little bit heavier is Townsend. And from the looks of it, from what we've seen already from him, he's got some speed to him for such a big guy. We'll see Townsend here running it to the left-hand side, but quickly being brought down by the Tigers.
That's right. Tigers was able to stuff him at the line there. It's going to be 2nd and 9 for the Patriots as they await the call. Number 15 has to run to his coach, then run back on the field. It's got to be tiring as well as just not as professional when you can do that hurry-up offense like the Tigers do.
And surely it's demoralizing a little bit, having to run back and forth like that just to come out and the offense just not be able to get it done. 2nd and 9. 5:45 left here in the first quarter. Handoff up the middle for Townsend once again. That seems to be the only thing that's really working. Ball came out. The Tigers will pick it up just in case, but it's called dead way before they have a chance to do anything with it. So another little chunk of yards there for Townsend. Makes it 2nd and 4 here for Truman.
It'll be 3rd and 4 actually for the Patriots. It's going to be their first 3rd and short. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Townsend obviously the call if I were the coach, however I am not. And they do have some weapons passing, although I'm going to say passing is their strong suit from the looks of it tonight.
Even whenever you know that run is coming, it's still hard to stop. They will pass it over to the right-hand side of the field. Clemens is the receiver there. He's got some space before being brought out of bounds at about the 43 by Trent Fell. So that time we will see a completion out of the Truman Patriots. And they will move the chains now for the 2nd time tonight.
What's interesting is that Nate Clemens, number 2 for the Patriots, also 5'9", 180 pounds, kind of similar to Nate Morris, who's also number 2 for the Tigers. We've seen him catch a ball once so far tonight. Darius Pierce, obviously, a good weapon for him to have in his belt.
Townsend will run it once again. That is a big boy. Takes a few Tigers to bring him down. It's Michael Garozzo getting in on the tackle here in his last regular season game of his career, wanting to make it a good one. It'll be 2nd and 5 here for the Patriots.
Garozzo almost took him airborne, just got him so low on the legs. That's exactly what you need to do, though. Tackle low, and Townsend, nowhere to go from there. 2nd and 5 for the Patriots.
4:10 left on the clock here in the first quarter. 2nd and 5. Townsend and Anderson in the backfield. Handoff goes to Townsend. Just keeps on going. He's so big, it's hard for the Tigers to bring him down. He gets it up to about 3rd and 1.
He does get it up to about 3rd and 1. Just a little extra push, and he would have had another first down, but he wasn't able to make that second effort. So the Patriots are now going to have a 3rd down. So far, he's only completed 3 of them. We'll see if they can make it 4 with this one. The quarterback runs, gives them the play, and they're ready to go to action.
Back and forth, back and forth. Anderson has been all night trying to go get those plays from his sideline. Anderson still in the backfield with Townsend. It'll go to Townsend. He runs right into the Tigers' defensive line. You don't see that a whole lot, the Tigers' defensive line getting bullied. That's one of the strongest suits of their entire defense. And that time just bullying his way right through there, bulldozing his way to the first down.
Did exactly that. Townsend definitely been a limelight so far for the Patriots, and we'll be looking for him to get a heavy dose of the plays calls tonight from his coach.
It'll be a long night here for Townsend if he's going to have to run it every single time. That time a fake handoff. Anderson drops back, heaves it way downfield. He's got a man down there, and it's a big completion all the way downfield to Drake Hawley. So they'll get the ball inside the 10-yard line, and now we've got a little life from the Truman student section.
Truman student section, about one line of them. I had an estimate maybe 25 people in the crowd in total. Trent Fell just missed his mark there. It allowed for the first successful passing play of the night for the Patriots. We'll see if they can get many more.
So now Anderson in the backfield, still with Townsend. 2:20 left here in the first quarter. Handoff goes to Townsend up the middle. Looked like he juggled it a little bit, and the Tigers are saying they've got it. The referees say they do. So after a big play downfield, Coyote Pino manages to rip the ball away here from the Patriots. And once again, the Tigers have wind in their sails, and the Patriots have none.
Yeah, they just got popped like a balloon. It definitely deflated their sails, and they have no motivation left in them as they are.
It hurts to see them already down 21-0 here in just the first quarter. If you go ahead and do the math there, that's going to equal out to about 84 points that they would manage to score tonight if the Tigers are able to keep up this pace of play. Pearsall in the backfield, joined by Manning. This time a handoff will go to Micah Manning. He runs out to the right-hand side. We'll see that track star speed in action here as he manages to get past the first down marker, keeps on going, and it looks like Manning dropped the ball. I think the Tigers fell on it there. You don't see that a whole lot. Fumbles from the Tigers.
Manning had 60 yards on the night against Liberty North, and it's Tigers' ball.
So they will still end up moving the chains here. He got hit hard by a handful of people, just unable to hold on to it there.
Manning has been a very solid back for the Tigers so far, getting almost all of the carries, and he's done good with them, scoring 5 touchdowns in the season.
Pearsall throwing the ball to a reliable target here. It's Ryan Belt to the right-hand side, getting the ball all the way up to the 45. So this Lee Summit offense keeps on chugging, even despite little hiccups here and there.
Absolutely. They don't just get out of the game with one turnover or one almost turnover. They know how to stay confident, especially in games against the Patriots. Darius Pearsall has been a leader for the team, and he's going to make sure they keep on chugging like they know how to do.
Pearsall joined in the backfield still by Manning, who makes his reappearance back onto the field after that fumble. Pearsall fakes a handoff here, a little miscommunication on where they wanted to go. Pearsall keeps it himself, gets to the right-hand side of the field, and runs out of bounds, getting the ball up to about the 48.
I mean, it seems like even when plays don't go the way the Tigers designed them for, they're still getting 3-4 yards. This one's going to be a 2nd and 7, so even their mistakes aren't really mistakes in the eyes of the Tigers. This was going to be a quick pickup from Darius Pearsall on the offense.
2nd and 7 here for the Tigers. Just under a minute left here in this first quarter. It's been a berating of the Truman Patriots here so far tonight. Pass goes to the left-hand side of the field. It'll be Landon Shepard. And another first down here for Lee Summit.
Landon Shepard, like I said, against Liberty North was an extremely solid wide receiver. He's been good tonight, getting 2 of Darius's passes, scoring the first receiving touchdown just a few minutes ago.
Pearsall hands it off to Manning up the middle, getting away from a couple guys in the backfield, pushing into that secondary, being brought down after a run of about 4.
It looked like number 74, Devron Rivera, almost wrapped him up in the backfield, but Manning was able to elude him and get 4 yards on the play.
Pearsall still in the backfield with Manning. Morse in motion here. The handoff will go to Morse. It'll be Micah Manning blocking for him. Morse sidesteps 2 players and gets all the way past that first down marker as the first quarter ends here. So the Tigers will have a first down on the other side of the field. When we take a break here, we'll be back here shortly.
When it comes to SUVs, nothing beats Honda. U.S. News & World Report's best SUV brand 4 years in a row, including the 2019 Honda Pilot, one of the millions of Hondas built here in America since 1982. Or the 2019 CR-V, a crossover car and driver calls a better value than the RAV4. And right now, get Pilot with 1.9% APR financing for well-qualified buyers. For more offers, visit kchondadealers.com today.
21-0 our score. Second quarter of action just about ready to get underway here. The Tigers completing a jet sweep first down from Nate Morse on their last play of the first quarter. So they'll start things off at about the 30-yard line here as we switch things up and go to the other side of the field. A fresh 12 minutes thrown up on the clock. We're ready to start the second. Pearsall joined in the backfield by Manning, looking to pass here on the first play of the second quarter. He's got pressure behind him, gets away from one, now trying to stiff arm another and move away. He gets the pass off to Ryan Belt, but that time it's just going to be broken up. An incredible effort there to get away from the defenders and still get the ball off. Belt just unable to get to it.
Britt Robinson had his name on Darius Pearsall, but unfortunately wasn't able to make the tackle. Darius Pearsall wisely throws it away. Even though it was an incompletion, it's definitely better than a sack with a potential injury when the playoffs is right around the corner.
Pearsall in the backfield, shuffling around, waiting for something to open up. He's got Landon Shepard over to the right-hand side. Nobody there to stop him. Does a little move in the end zone. No real need to do that as he still gets into the end zone for the touchdown. But Mr. Consistency for Lee Summit with another touchdown in this one. And it's 27-0. The Tigers just bullying their way to getting more points up on the scoreboard.
That's exactly right. Landon Shepard, as soon as he got that touchdown, handed the ball off to the ref. He's been there before, and he's showing it tonight.
Doing the little windmill arm celebration that this entire Tigers team does. Huffman will be on to kick another extra point. A busy night for him, making it 28-0. He's 4 for 4 on the night for PATs. So the cannons sound once more here in Lee Summit. The Tigers increasing their lead early on in the second quarter.
You know, Tigers know how to get up early. We've seen them do it in the St. Joe game, the Belton game, also scoring a lot in the Park Hill South game, so it's no surprise here to see the offense clicking early on. And that defense with the turnovers has been an extreme help to the offense, setting them up in good field position to get most of their touchdowns.
We've only seen a couple of completed passes out of that Patriots side of the ball. Because the Tigers defense has been so harassing, they're forcing them to the run game because of all the interceptions and incompletions that have come out of the pass game from Anderson. So the Patriots now ready to take things over once again. 11:40 left here in the second quarter. Tigers up 28-0 already. This one's shaping up to be a blowout early on in this ball game. Huffman back ready to boot it off once again. We've seen a touchback on every time he's kicked it away here in these last couple of weeks. This one will be caught. Truman will have a chance to run it back and get themselves some better field position than just the 20, but they won't do much more than that as they'll get it to about the 22.
Unfortunately, when you can't get it to the 20, you get the 22. Isn't much better. 2 yards probably won't be the difference maker in this drive, but Troy Huffman, that's his first ball that hasn't gone back in the end zone. He's been so far so good tonight as 11:39 remains on the clock for the second quarter.
So Anderson ready to take over again here. His first drive of the second quarter here for the Patriots. It'll be him and Townsend still in the backfield. Townsend has been the main carrier of most of the yards here for the Patriots tonight. In that 6'2", 250 frame of his, he's hard to bring down. Anderson will sling one over to the left-hand side of the field. It was originally caught, and a big hit came in from Jackson Fry as he's able to knock the ball loose there. No fumble, just an incompletion, and Chris Rhodes is unable to hang on to it.
And with that big hit from Jackson Fry, Chris Rhodes, unfortunately, not able to hold on to the ball. Lawan Miller puts his hands up in the flying motion, signaling that the ball was not caught. Thank you, Lawan. It's 2nd and 10 for the Patriots.
Very cool. The Tigers 28-0. 11:30 left in the second quarter. A blowout is underway here in Lee Summit. 2nd and 10. Anderson hands one off to Townsend going to the right-hand side of the field. He's not going to get a ton out of it, but again, just using that big frame of his to bully his way through to get that extra set of yards. I don't think he ever went down, despite the fact that it looked like the entire Tigers defense was surrounding him.
No, Townsend's a big guy to bring down. Last week, Tigers had their match cut out for him with big guys in the backfield. That kind of prepared them for this game. And Townsend, not much of a big guy compared to what they had to face last week against Liberty North.
He's got a little bit bigger frame, but maybe less of a skill set and speed out of Townsend. Still a hard guy to bring down, obviously. A running back and a linebacker, not a combination you see a lot. Anderson dropping back to pass again, rolling out to his right-hand side. He's got Anudike in his back. He's just going to throw one into no man's land there, and it falls incomplete.
Jackson Fry has been on A.J. Geitson like white on rice so far tonight, not allowing any completions out of him. And a big hit to stop them from getting a first down earlier in this drive, and now a big hit to bring, or not a big hit, but just staying step for step with the receiver to bring up 4th and 9. Surely a punt is underway. We're going to get to see this electric Tiger offense take the field once more.
It has looked electric so far. 28-0 our score here. I'm excited to see him take the reins once again. It's fun to call up here in the booth whenever Darius Pearsall has control of the ball game. There'll be a timeout here by Truman before the punt. 4th and 9. I don't think that they'll make any decisions to try to go for it here. The Tiger defense, as you said, has been all over Truman here to start this ball game.
Again, when you have an underdeveloped program like Truman does, you tend to waste timeouts earlier within the half. They have wasted now 2 of their timeouts, 1 remaining, and there's still 10 minutes to go within the second quarter, so obviously not what you would like to see out of the Patriots, but that's what they've been doing so far, and if that comes back to bite them in the butt later, they're going to have to deal with it.
10:48 left on the clock, and as you mentioned, that's early to have used 2 timeouts already. Still just in the first half, obviously they'll get 3 more whenever the second half rolls around. But when you're already down 28-0 and not having any timeouts, clock management's not a huge deal in the first half, but you don't have even the option for it whenever you don't have any timeouts. Low snap is fumbled. The Tigers nearly blocked the kick. Landon Willis just lets it bounce, and it rolls a long way, about an extra 10 to 12 yards. And they'll go ahead and pick it up at the 38-yard line.
That could have spelled disaster for the Patriots as that snap was fumbled, bobbled around there, finally got the kickoff. And as you can see, the defensive line almost got one of their hands on it. But it will be first down for the Tigers after that 12-yard roll from the ball. Puts them at the 38-yard line.
So Darius Pearsall gets to get his hands on the football one more time here. Pearsall joined by Manning in the backfield. Again, a lot of receivers out there on the field for the Tigers. That seems to be the way to go for him. Pass goes over to Nate Morris, a little screen pass, and look at the speed and ability to evade defenders there, getting the first down and then some for Lee Summit.
Nate Morris is coming off 2 rough weeks, not being able to get a lot of production out of him, but now you can see when the ball gets in his hands, he's happy to have it back there, and he's been getting some yards tonight for the Tigers. This one, a first down to put them a little above the 50-yard line.
Ball spotted at about the 49 here for Lee Summit in Patriots territory now. Pearsall joined by Manning still in the backfield. Snap a little high. Pearsall corrals it, throws it to his left-hand side, and a bullet to Ryan Belt is caught before 4 Patriots swarm him and bring him to the ground.
That's exactly right. That was a beautiful pass by Pearsall. Ryan Belt, it's a senior ability to see the safety incoming for the tackle, was able to shield him off with his back and didn't even really get brought to the ground. He stopped moving, and that will allow the Tigers for first down and 10 with 9:48 remaining within the second quarter.
Again, still very early on here in this ball game, and we're looking at big scores from Lee Summit. Pearsall gives a couple orders to Manning, gets the snap, hands it off to Manning. Look at the speed from that guy. He keeps on going to the right-hand side, breaks away from the last man, and it's another touchdown.
On that right side there, he's only 5'8", but he was blocking that 6-foot defender like he was nothing, able to create the seam for Micah to run through, and an inch takes him a mile. Gets a touchdown there, looking for 35 on the board with this extra point from Huffman.
Huffman puts it up and through the upright, staying perfect in this one. We saw there Chris Rhodes and another player in that secondary for Truman kind of colliding there, just as looking almost confused by Manning's speed and ability to just get away from them with ease. He does exactly that, as I said, a couple defenders colliding into each other on his way to that easy touchdown run, or at least the way that he makes it looks easy. So now with 9:30 left in the second quarter, the Tigers increase their lead to 35.
This is shaping up to be a game where we see the junior varsity in the second half. Got a lot of studs out there, and definitely always good for them to get some playing time because they are the future of this program.
They are indeed. We've seen a couple of star players for that JV team come out and do some big things under the Friday night lights, which they don't get a lot of opportunity to do. But when Lee Summit's winning a game big, or in the unfortunate case that they're down, that second string unit comes out onto the field, and we see some big names come out there for the Tigers' future, like Austin Robb in that defense. We've seen Kyle Girding come out, get a couple of interceptions for him. Tommy Locke, the quarterback for next year, coming out there. Jalen Johnson, probably the running back of the future for Lee Summit. A lot of seniors going out the door, but a bright future for Lee Summit as we go into next year's season.
Absolutely. Coach Thomas always does a good job of coaching up.
Joined by his trusty sidekick Townsend in the backfield. Townsend's hard to miss, 6'2", 250. Fake handoff goes to Townsend. Pass goes over to the left-hand side of the field. It's complete, and the screen pass works there as Nate Clemens gets a few yards here for the Patriots as they look to start this drive. Maybe get some points on the board for the first time tonight.
Landon Willis was able to recognize the screen pass, run over there, negate what would have been a big play to just 5 yards. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 5 with 9:01 and the clock ticking for the Patriots here in the second quarter.
Time just keeps on moving. It's hard to make a comeback when you're down this big, but especially whenever you don't have the time to do so. The Tigers have put so many points up so early that hopes for a second half comeback, no matter what the team is, don't look very good. Here we'll see Townsend carrying the ball, the entire Tigers defense surrounding him, and finally he goes down, and cheers coming from that Tiger student section as they're finally able to bring down the big guy.
Absolutely. You can hear the loud crowd after a touchdown. You know, they're excited, obviously, but it's kind of a thing with the Tigers now. They score a touchdown, it's like, oh, okay. But you just heard the Truman student section with that 15-yard one. They went nuts because they know those are few and far between to come from, especially tonight with a tough Tigers D to stop them. 1st and 10 for the Patriots.
Ball on the 38-yard line now for the Patriots, still in their own territory, but moving the ball better and better each time that they get their hands on it. Still no points on the board from them to this point. It'll be Anderson in the backfield, still joined by Townsend. Townsend will have to try to block. Doesn't do a great job of it. Several Tigers surrounding him, and Anderson throws it over to the sideline. Several Tigers jumping up to grab it, but they're not on the field at the moment, so it wouldn't have counted had they did get their hands on it. So now with 8 minutes left, we'll be looking at 2nd and 10 for the Patriots.
Still an impressive catch from the Tigers bench. Shows the depth they have at every position possible. There's a smart move to throw the ball away from Anderson because he had Tyler Terrence and others just waiting to tackle him. He's been able to scramble away tonight, and he's going to have to do that all night long. JV team, varsity or not, it doesn't matter. Tigers front 7 is always solid.
Anderson still in the backfield with Townsend. 2nd and 10. Handoff goes to Townsend, and this time the Tigers make him look small. One went for the legs, one went for the up top area, and they bring him down in the backfield, forcing it to be 3rd and 12 there, and the tag team of the Tigers in the backfield able to bring him down.
Absolutely. Michael Garozzo after that play kind of flexes towards the bench in the crowd. He went for the legs. Max Weisner got his chest, just able to drive him into the ground, kind of picked him up there and slammed him on the ground. It's going to bring up 3rd and 12. They haven't been so good on these 3rd and longs, so that's when they have to rely on their passing game, and we've seen that has not been so successful tonight.
Townsend looks winded out there. As we mentioned, he's a big guy. Timeout will be called here, likely for him, as he's just on his hands and knees there in the huddle, trying to get a big gulp of air whenever he can. He'll get a big gulp of water here and maybe get some wind back into his lungs and try to carry this Truman offense a little more, which is kind of what he's been doing to this point tonight.
This is definitely scary. This is when you start looking back on the first half and when you wasted a timeout on a potential delay of game penalty. Now, when your team might need it in the 2-minute warning, you just don't have it, and it's going to be tough for the Truman Patriots with 0 timeouts left and a 3rd and 12 ahead of them.
Tigers defense back out there ready to go early, and Truman sort of sluggish out to the line, jogging and walking their way back out to their positions. So we'll see Truman go ahead and try things again here. 3rd and 12, a long ways to go, especially against this Tigers defense that has looked hot tonight. 7:15 left in the first half. Anderson dropping back to pass, slings one over the middle, but it falls incomplete there. The intended were target A.J. Gidson. And it'll be 4th and 12 now for the Patriots, and the Tigers will have another chance to get the ball.
You know, the defense has been really good at putting the Tigers' position just to receive the ball and receive it in a good spot. As you can see, Landon Willis, the returner for the Tigers, backing up to around the 40-yard line. They should have a shorter field to work with here.
So the Patriots ready to punt once again. Just a little shank out to the left-hand side. I guess he mishit it there. Hits the side of his foot. Nearly hits Townsend, who's sitting on the bench trying to get some hair back into his lungs. And that one will be marked at about the 50-yard line. So that's where the Tigers will get to take over. Nice even territory for them as they look to start this next drive.
And they've been solid so far tonight, and I don't expect them to be anything less on this one. They've been cruising. Darius Pearsall getting some high knees out there, just preparing for another drive that the Tigers offense love to do.
It's a chilly night, likely just trying to warm up. 46 degrees, the coldest one we've seen here at Bud Herzog Stadium this year. This time Micah Manning gets the handoff and is brought down quickly in the backfield. Good job by the Patriots to get back there and bring him down. So that time it's Quincy Potts in on the tackle. It'll be 2nd and 10 for Lee Summit.
Potson, a 6-foot, 200-pound guy, definitely a solid linebacker for the Patriots. Something's happening. Pearsall finally gets to play from the sideline, and the offense is ready to roll with a 2nd and 10 ahead of them.
Pearsall and Manning still in the backfield. A lot of receivers and options out there for the Tigers. Pearsall dropping back to pass. Throws one way downfield. He's got Nate Morse as his target. There was some pushing there before the pass comes in. No flag is thrown. Morse went up high for it and just couldn't bring it back down. So it'll be 3rd and 10 for the Tigers, and funny enough, the Tigers might not score on this drive.
Well, I want to say that, Jordan. Offense is quite powerful, but I guess the ref just didn't see the hands to the face in the air before the ball.
Here on the 20-yard pass play.
I mean, Ryan Belt has been a solid receiver with 30 receptions, 477 receiving yards in this season. He had a big game against Lee Summit North just a couple weeks ago, and he's shaping up to have a big one here against the Truman Patriots.
Pearsall goes up to the line, touches the center, gives him some instruction. Micah Manning in motion here will join him in the backfield. Pearsall ready, hands it off to Manning, keeps it himself. He fools me every time he does it. Goes to the left-hand side of the field, still moving, gets a 1st down. And Lee Summit once again moving the chains.
Oh, Jordan, if it makes you feel any better, I think the defense is also getting confused out there. Definitely going there, but I would also like to point out Jake Maracek with that block on the side really opened up the scene and allowed for the 1st down as the Tigers cruise into the red zone.
Maracek, one of those guys that kind of goes unnoticed because he's not a main receiver that gets his numbers called a lot, but he does do a lot, like blocking on those passes and run plays out to the left-hand side or to the right. Pearsall this time feeling pressure. He'll be brought down in the backfield, a rare sack. Pearsall brought down by Adrian Fonua. That's a new one for me in his senior year, managing to bring down Pearsall in the backfield.
Pearsall so far has been perfect scrambling tonight. That one just got a little tripped up. It's not a big sack, only a 2-yard loss on the play, so not that big of a deal in the scheme of things.
35-0 our score. Pearsall dropping back to pass, moves over to the left-hand side. Felt some pressure again. Still going to find a man over to the left-hand side. Looks like the Tigers may have finally moved the chains or not moved the chains rather, but picked up a couple extra yards there after the sack. So it'll be 3rd and 8 here for the Tigers. Just under 4:20 left in the first half. Pearsall dropping back to pass again, scanning that left side of the end zone. Now he finds Nate Moore short at about the goal for the first down, and Morse gets extra yardage there, nearly getting into the end zone. Takes a big hit, but is finally brought down by the Patriots.
Darius Pearsall, like you said, has been suffering some attack from the defensive line, and no wonder. Their average height on that line is 6'6". They are some tall, big guys, but Pearsall handling that pressure well.
Not often that he gets sacked or feels a lot of pressure, whether that's because of the good mobility he has on those legs or the good job done by the offensive line. Pass goes over to the left-hand side again. It looks like it's caught, and a touchdown for the Tigers. Looked like Nate Morse is the one that caught it. Tigers managing to make the score now 41-0. And Troy Huffman has another chance to come out and put more points up on the board for the Tigers.
I don't know what to say at this point. The offense is cruising, and Darius Pearsall with Nate Morse. They have that chemistry there. I interviewed Nate Morse. He just gives almost all his credit to Darius so far, and they've been working really good together tonight.
Huffman on ready again, hits the uprights, gives the Tigers now a 42-0 lead with 3:40 left in the first half. Kyle, you mentioned not a whole lot you can say at this point. It's kind of been the same old story. Patriots get the ball, they don't get a lot of yards. Tigers get the ball, they get a lot of yards, they put points on the board. Tigers have not had a turnover to this point, whether it be an interception, a fumble, or a turnover on downs, and the Patriots, unfortunately for them, have had one on every single drive to this point.
Jordan, you're exactly right. The offense is cruising and the defense is bruising, with Townsend receiving most of that bruising from the defense. He's been taking a lot of big hits tonight in that offense. You cannot deny 2 rushing touchdowns within the first half from Darius Pearsall, 2 receiving touchdowns from Landon Shepard. It's been a whole effort tonight so far for the Tigers.
So once again, Huffman has a chance to not only hit the PAT, but to come out and boot it off to the other team again so that the Tigers defense can get their hands on that Truman Patriots offense once more. Huffman puts his hands up, makes the march towards the ball, boots it downfield. It's a high one moving back towards the end zone. The Patriots will let it fall back there, so they'll get the ball at the 20-yard line here, ready to start this next drive with just under 3:40 to play in the first half. We've not seen a great game out of Anderson. Townsend has been the main source of offense here for the Patriots tonight, running the ball up the middle. He's marked on all the programs here in the stadium as a D-end, but getting the ball, running it a lot here tonight, and doing a good job at it, getting through that Tigers defensive line, which not a lot of guys can do considering their size and strength up there.
The only running back they have listed on the roster is a 5'7", number 14, Marcus Kinney. Maybe they looked at the size of the Tigers defensive line. Okay, maybe we should put one of our D linemen in there because they're going to be big enough to get past this offensive line.
So it'll be Townsend again carrying it, getting it up the middle there. Not a whole lot out of it. Kaya Tupino getting there, a 4-yard gain for the Patriots.
Tupino, dual sport athlete, does soccer practice on one day a week, football for the rest of it, and he's been a big part of this linebacking core for the Tigers.
Used to be running back, punter, linebacker, goalkeeper, anything it seems like the Tigers' fall sports really need him for, he's there for. This year does it all still. Anderson dropping back to pass, finds a man over that left-hand side. Incomplete there. That time, Drake Hawley, the target once again. He's unable to hang on to it, trying to get away from the Tigers. But again, the defense is there, forcing problems for the Patriots. So it'll be 3rd and 6 now. Anderson at this point, it's just deflating knowing that you have to come back out here and face that Tigers defense over and over and over again. So we've seen a lot of times that ball's just going to Townsend, and he's getting tired and putting his hands on his knees there in that huddle because they called on his number so many times. Anderson and Townsend still in the backfield. Anderson here, a handoff to Townsend, goes over the middle, a little jump. Doesn't do a whole lot there. It looks like he landed on Michael Garozzo. He puts his hands up, getting some help up. That's a big guy coming at you with his knees coming out. Probably a pretty scary sight if you're Michael Garozzo.
Yeah, we've seen several players in the NFL try to leave. Not a whole lot of benefit. The coaches aren't teaching them to do that, and it just really leads to injury. Townsend might look cool, but not a lot of upside when you do that. And it's 4th and 2nd, and they're going to bring out their punting unit.
Quincy Scott, the snap a little high once again, this time having to run away from the Tigers. Boots it out to the right-hand side, and a little improvisation there from the punter. Gets the ball down inside the 40-yard line. It's picked up at the 39, which is where the Tigers will start their next drive.
They will start their next drive there. 2:09 left to play in the second quarter. I wouldn't be surprised if they get in less than a minute because offense just knows how to get down the field. Darius Pearsall been lighting up the secondary and the defensive line. Though they've gotten pressure, haven't had a lot of tackles or sacks to show for it.
So we'll see the Tigers march back out there. Maybe for the last time in the half. We'll see Tommy Locke come out there replacing Darius Pearsall. So a glimpse into the future here for Tiger fans tonight. Locke joined in the backfield still by Manning. Looks like the rest of the offense is still out there for Lee Summit. Handoff goes to Manning up the middle. He'll be brought down after getting the ball to the 43 for Lee Summit.
Well, Lee Summit's going to have a 2nd and 5 to work with. It's 1:53 and the time is ticking. They've Landon Shepard lined up on that right side with Max Wiseman.
Locke this time in the backfield with Jalen Johnson. Throws one over to the left-hand side. Looked like the Tigers may have gotten the first down there. Ryan Belt puts his hands over the 10 yards needed there for Lee Summit, and they will get the first down, moving the chains once again tonight. So there's Tommy Locke's first pass of the night and completed for a first down. Locke joined in the backfield by Jalen Johnson. Pass goes to the left-hand side of the field, a dive, and that one still falls incomplete. Nate Morse was the intended receiver there.
It's going to stop the clock at 1:22 to go within the second half. It looks like the Patriots offense is not going to get a chance to touch the ball with only 1:22 remaining in the half. So the Tigers are going to roll into the half with the lead and possession as they will receive the kickoff to start the second half.
Locke in the backfield with Johnson. Morse in motion here. Handoff goes to Morse. The jet sweep worked earlier. We'll see how it works here tonight for the Tigers. Blocks there from Moracek. Looks like they might have drawn a flag. Looked like he might have caught one there in the back, and he does. So the penalty flag there thrown at Moracek. Now the Tigers will have to make the sad walk backwards.
It's never fun, but so far I believe that might be their first penalty of the night. Definitely improving on last week, mitigating those offensive, which just allows it to be an easier game when you don't have always, a little bit 2 steps forward, but then 3 yards back because of penalties. So though it is their first, it's definitely a good sign.
Second down and way long for the Tigers now. Locke still joined by Johnson in the backfield. We might get a chance to see that lock arm. Snap a little high. Handoff goes to Johnson up the middle. Tigers likely just wanting to run out the clock here as they'll lose yards once again on the handoff.
They will lose yards on that handoff. Locke not being able to show off the arm, but we do know he has it, being able to dot up the defense in games like St. Joe, and he was able to take the field there. Offensive line has had their work cut out for them. That's the only matchup I'd say is really even somewhat close to being close, and offensive line has done their part so far tonight.
3rd and 24 now. We don't get a lot of love to those guys down in the trenches, but the guys for Lee Summit do a good job. Locke rolling out to his left, tries to find Nate Morse on a screen pass. The blocks there from Moracek force the man backwards. He's able to break away from Moracek, and it is picked off. So Patrick Martin gets in there, gets the interception, and frustration there for the Tigers for maybe the first time tonight. Something's not really going quite right.
You know, if you're the Patriots, it would be kind of nice to have a couple timeouts left, but unfortunately, they have none, and that might be the reason why they can't execute. Also, the fact that they still are 40 yards away, and it seems like even if they were at 10 yards away, they couldn't punch it in with this offense.
We did see him get inside the 10 earlier, unable to do anything with it. Pass goes here over the middle. Tigers finally trying to get the wrap up there on Nate Clemens. It'll be a first down for the Patriots. The goal normally is just get the ball and get over to the sideline. But with the clock moving now inside the 5, that'll take us now to halftime. The score being 42-0. A blowout is underway here in Lee Summit. We'll take a quick break here. We'll be back here in just a moment.
Gear up for Back to Sport at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Landed Shepard. So it'll be 4th and 3 for the Tigers. They're getting ready to quite as accurate as looks like go for it. Nope, they will bring the offense off the field. The Tigers are ready to punt it off.
Yeah, I don't think he had any completion.
So it'll be Kaya Tapino.
Just one.
Ready to punt it off. He plays a lot of different positions for the Tigers.
On the toes,
Perhaps
too.
his second
Running
best one
fast,
is that
he's
punter
good.
position.
Yeah, you can tell there's Tommy Lott just kind of a tad high for his receiver to bring that one in. Some mistakes we're just going to see JV's with a big punt here. It's going to give the defense some room to work with as they still have the Patriots offense to deal with.
That one rolls in just inside the 25-yard line. So with about 9-10 left, the Patriots will take over at the 23. This will be 1st and 10. Anderson back at the helm now for the Patriots. Getting some instruction now on the sideline and getting ready to move back over there to get this drive started for Truman, who to this point has been scoreless and really neutralized by the Tiger defense.
That's the first time on offense the Tigers couldn't put up a touchdown, so it's an impressive stat line out of them. And if they get some points here, this could be the first drive that the Patriots do put up some points here. Facing a JV defense, not quite as solid, but again, after the utter domination they had against varsity, it's probably not going to go too much better.
So we will see some of the second stringers come out there for Lee Summit. Anderson in the backfield, dropping back, ready to pass. He's got some defense coming in towards him. Some pressure comes in. He throws it to the right-hand side of the field. The Tigers are there. Looked like a jump ball in the air. It does end up dropping down. The defender back ready for that one was Damian Wilson. Leaped way up in the air, just unable to hang on to it there. So there's a little tie-up. In the backfield there, it was Brennan Klaus in his senior year getting back there, nearly getting the sack, forcing the pressure there. A little bit of a delayed push into the backfield. He does get back there and nearly forces the incompletion and the interception.
That's the first time tonight we've seen Anderson have just a bit of time to throw. Normally,
Kyle Girding falls on it. So Lee Summit will pick the ball up and run right back around, have another offensive possession here starting at about the 30-yard line. So a good job there by the Tigers to get the fumble forced and then to fall on it quickly, not allowing Truman to get a second chance there after the mistake.
no, absolutely not. They have been capitalizing on all turnovers that Truman has given them. 2 picks thrown early in the first half, capitalized on both. A fumble in the second quarter, they've capitalized on that, and I'd expect nothing less from the Tigers as they have a short field, just 30 yards to work with.
So now we'll see junior Tommy Locke march back out there one more time. It's not been the greatest of games for him to this point, but he does have that gunslinger of an arm. Just working on coming out here for the varsity squad, getting some things fine-tuned a little bit. Handoff goes to Johnson up the middle. Potts on the tackle. So it'll be now 2nd and 7 for the Tigers.
You know, when Drew Lock got drafted, the quarterback coach for Denver described him as a pitcher who just couldn't pitch yet, and that's kind of what we're seeing here with Tommy Locke. He does have the power with his arm, just kind of get the fine-tunes, kinks worked out, and he'll be good to go for next season.
That accuracy still is there, but obviously factors playing into it, such as the cold, coming out here, maybe got a little nerves playing for the varsity team. Not something that he gets to do every single week. So coming out here, getting your name called, marching out on that field can be a little nerve-wracking. Man in motion now for the Tigers. They'll fake the handoff on the jet sweep. It'll go to Johnson up the middle once again, and the defense will drag him backwards. Forward progress there will pick him up a couple extra yards, and they'll get it up to about the 26.
Jalen Johnson is a guy coming into the season, and not a lot of people knew his name. I certainly didn't, but then that Belton game when JV got to play, you could tell he was a special talent, and he's made his impact so far in games like Belton, the St. Joe game, and as well here tonight. You can tell that the future is bright as far as the running back position with him in the backfield.
So Locke now on 3rd and 6, joined by Johnson still in the backfield. Several receivers out there for the Tigers. Locke will keep it himself, throws it over the left-hand side. There's some accuracy for the Tigers, and Tommy Locke has thrown a touchdown pass here to Anthony Wilson. That's got to feel good for Locke. We've seen him get a couple rushing touchdowns to this point. but the accuracy there to the left-hand side of the field and the breakaway for Anthony Wilson on the screen pass increases the Tigers' lead once again. So Locke there with a great job just hitting him in the numbers, going back to basics there, not trying to fire one downfield, finding a man, short yard, short completion, get that confidence up here for the varsity quarterback.
Absolutely. He was able to just find his man, make the nice little screen pass, turn it into a touchdown.
Troy Huffman on for the extra point there, completes it again, so he stays perfect to this point. 5:05 now left in this third quarter rather. I said ball game because looking up at the score and seeing 49-0, you think this one's got to be getting close to done, but not by any means. We've still got about 17 minutes of football left to be played. And now the second stringers out there are running up the score even higher for Lee Summit. We saw their biggest win of the year come against St. Joe, 50-0 a few weeks ago. No scores coming out of the second stringers in that ball game. But now we've seen a touchdown put up by Tommy Locke in his second unit.
Tommy Locke definitely a leader for the junior varsity squad. They've had some success in their games. And now with a 49-0 lead, a lot of confidence. And I think it just comes down to how you prepare. Felix Anudiko, in preparing for the St. Joe game, a game most people knew was going to be a blowout. He said, my coach said they're a good team, so I'm going to treat them like they are. And I think that's the mentality for the Tigers. When you have that type of mentality, it allows you to never underestimate and always come out here and perform, especially against the teams that aren't the best.
And something that you do see a lot of times is sometimes frustration come out there whenever there is a big blowout like that and teams just continue to build up the score. The Tigers building up the score here and continuing to do so. So, Kyle, what's your opinion on it? Whenever you see a team up big against a team that they should be beating, do you like to see them run up that score or do you not? Because in my opinion, I think you should be allowed to if you're trying to find a playoff placement, which is what the Tigers are trying to do.
Absolutely. One of the tiebreakers when discussing the playoff picture is the points per game. So these points, they're just not going to running up the score, which, I mean, in a competitive league isn't that big of a deal. If you want to embarrass your opponent, you can embarrass them. But also when it comes to the playoff picture, it's important to get those points. Right now, the Tigers are averaging 31.57. Even though they have two teams ahead of them that have the same record for them forward, just that points that they have allow them to get the nod at that 5th and 6th spot.
So that's maybe what we're seeing from the Tigers here, trying to run up that score. It's Townsend running, and again he fumbles it. So on his last two runs, the Tigers have come in and forced fumbles. So there you'll see Kaya Tupino getting excited, high-fiving some of the second stringers out there as they come off the field. Some big excitement for those boys coming out there, not getting a lot of playing time because they're not first stringers, and then they come out and force this big guy, a little bit daunting in front of him, 6'2", 250, and you force two fumbles in a row. A great job by this Tigers second team coming out there and not at all being fazed by his size or his strength or anything else that he possesses, which you don't normally see in running backs at that level.
Sometimes with underclassmen, they get a little scared to tackle somebody when they're big, but that's not the case tonight. Getting two fumbles back-to-back, that's definitely taken the courage out of Townsend as he continues to run the ball later tonight.
So the Tigers offense takes over once again. Tommy Locke fakes a handoff. He's going to take it himself. Locke not known for running the ball a lot, but that time he does carry it. He has a rushing touchdown on the year. That time just picking up 2 there on the run to the left-hand side of the field.
He said he's not known for running, and that is true. Darius Pearsall more of a running or a dual-threat quarterback than Tommy Locke is, but still able to make something out of that play, picking up 2 yards, allowing 2nd and 8. And most likely we'll see them give it to Johnson here as he will be in the backfield for Locke.
At this point, if you're the Tigers, likely just trying to run down the clock here, get through this ball game, maybe put some more points up on the board, as Kyle talked about, increasing those points per game here as they go for the jet sweep to the right-hand side. Still picking up some extra yards. They'll be forced out of bounds. That was Jeffrey Johnson on the carry there. The Tigers now looking at 3rd down and about 4 yards.
Looks like they're going to spot it a bit shorter than you imagine. 3rd and 6 will be the play. And definitely some range for Locke to show his passing ability. We'll see if they allow him to pick up this down through the air.
Locke connected with Anthony Wilson on their last drive for that touchdown pass. A little bit more done by Wilson there than Locke, but a good job to find him in the backfield and pick up the touchdown. Locke joined in the backfield by Johnson still. Wouldn't be surprised to see him run it. That is going to be the call. They'll give it to Johnson, as we mentioned before, a big guy pushing his way through that defensive line. Shy of the first down will end up being 4th, and the spot's not too generous there, 4th and 4. The offense looks like they'll stay out there, so the Tigers will go for it here on 4th and 4, just out of field goal range and kind of in that awkward spot where you can't kick a field goal and you can't punt it off.
Absolutely. I'm not sure what the referee was thinking with those 2 last spots. I mean, Jesse George in the loud crowd has a clown as a referee. Maybe he's imitating some referees out there on the field tonight, but nonetheless, it's going to be 4th and 4 for the Tigers.
So we'll see now, man in motion for the Tigers. 2 fake handoffs for Locke. He's going to sling it over to the left-hand side. It's caught. Looks like John Moritz there making the grab, getting the ball forward to about the 19-yard line, and the Tigers will move the chains. Those two have been friends for a long time, playing baseball and football together. And now under the biggest stage that you can play high school football out here on these Friday night lights, they're out here doing it as they always have, Locke to Moritz.
And the lights are bright, the stage is set, and they're competing at the highest level.
Handoff goes over the middle to Johnson. He is still going. Looked like he was going to be brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Everyone piling in there behind him. He still hasn't gone down. They'll go ahead and whistle the play dead at about the 20-yard line. And now it looks like a man on the Tigers line is going to fall down in pain. That was Mikey Turk going down. Looked like he's grabbing something on his right leg. You don't want to see that. It was one of those ones where he's kind of walking and just slowly falls down grabbing something in pain. You never want to see that.
Yeah, you never want to see it. And I apologize for not saying the time more, but we do have only 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. It always seems like when Tigers are up big in these games, they like to make sure that clock stays running. And the third quarter seems to have gone just as quickly as the first 2 minutes in the first did. So looks like 72 might be able to get back up to his feet.
Turk sitting up now. Stadium falling quiet, players taking knees. Hopefully he's okay. He's going to be pulled up and helped off the field now, limping pretty noticeably. And that's never a good sight to see. Regardless of first string, second string, it doesn't matter. You never want to see a guy fall down and get hurt like that, like Turk just has.
In practice yesterday, an offensive lineman, Preston Six, went down. He's been out, been on crutches today, and looks like he's going to be out for 2 weeks. So it's never a good sign when the thing that protects your quarterback starts getting injured, because that leaves potential risk for your quarterback to then get injured.
That's exactly right, and that's a lot of times in these big games, people wonder, why do they bring the second stringers out there? It's to avoid injury. We've seen in games where the Tigers have been down, Pearsall falls down grabbing a leg, or you see Micah Manning get hurt or something like that. And you don't want to see your main guys get hurt, because in that next week, if it's something where they really get hurt and you need those first stringers out there, you can't use them. It hurts you because the Tigers are up 49-0 right now. You can't risk injury to those starters. Handoff here goes to Jalen Johnson up the middle. There is nobody there to stop him. A huge hole created by the Tigers' offensive line, and those guys in the trenches are doing their job tonight. Jalen Johnson just powering his way in there and increasing the Tigers' lead now to 55. And the sophomore adds another touchdown onto his season. He doesn't get a lot of playing time because he's not a starter. But whenever he's out on that field, he does make quite a big impact. So now Dennis Bocher, the foreign exchange student from Germany, comes on, knocks it in. So now with just 45 seconds left here in the second half, or in the third quarter rather, the Tigers increase their lead now to 56.
You know, it's times when, you know, you're winning by this much. I think we should start looking at the playoff picture, especially with districts right around the corner. Currently, the Tigers are in 7th out of 8th place. Liberty looking like they're going to take the L this week, down 14-0, so they will end up with the worst spot in the district, most likely, against the Staley Falcons. Another close one, we got Ray-Peck versus Leesama West. Ray-Peck is beating them 14-7. If West falls in that game, it'll be their first losing record in a while. They've won several state champions since then. It'll also put the Tigers in a good position to take 6th, maybe even the 5th spot.
So that's some good insight there for those of you that are wondering about how the playoff picture is shaping up here in this division. So once again, we'll see foreign exchange student Dennis Bocher out there again, ready to boot it off downfield. A high one swirling out to that right-hand side from the lefty. It'll be returned by the Patriots, and they might have a chance here to put some points on the board. Bocher kind of sidesteps him there, and they finally are able to bring him down. They get the ball inside the 40-yard line. It's Quincy Scott on the return, and a great job there finding a seam and just bursting through it. And now finally some more life coming out of this Truman student section, who hasn't had much to cheer for tonight.
No, not at all. I mean, the cheerleaders were hugging someone. They were jumping us up and down as if they just got a homecoming date. But no, it was just a 40-yard kickoff return for the Patriots. It's the biggest play of the night.
Well, and now here's the scary part. You have to give the ball back to Anderson, who, let's be kind up here in the booth, he's had a less than stellar performance. And the same thing can be said for the rest of the offense here for the Patriots tonight.
That's putting it lightly, Jordan.
And we're seeing now Mylan Townsend, who has been their main source of offense tonight, running the ball. That big 6'2", 250 guy, you'd expect him to be kind of powering through people, but now the second unit out there for the Tigers has forced 2 fumbles on the last 2 offensive plays that the Patriots have had.
When you ask for so much production out of Townsend, you know, it's...
Real quick here before we get started, we'll take a break and listen to a word from our sponsors.
Today is a new day. A day we've been waiting for our whole lives. We've put in the work to get to this moment, to have this opportunity to come together as a team. Everyone knows KC is on the rise, but what they don't know is we're just getting started.
Community America, powering the rise of Kansas City.
And we're back from Bud Herzog Stadium, and it's a bummer that you couldn't see that last play. Finally, some more celebration here from Truman. They have scored a touchdown. Who'd have thunk? Chris Rhodes catching the ball all the way downfield, a long play. And Anderson finally puts some points on the board for the Patriots.
Patriots definitely excited about that one, as their broadcasters have left the booth. Maybe lost a little faith a little too soon, as Patriots finally get their first touchdown of the night.
56-6, a 50-point ball game. And now we'll see here if the Patriots, they will go for it. A bold move there from this offense. So Anderson joining the backfield by Townsend. He's going to roll out to his right. They trust the arm. Passes a little high, and it's going to fall incomplete. Drake Hawley unable to corral that one. So it'll stay 56-6, as now we're down inside 11 minutes here in the final quarter of this contest.
So now if you're the Patriots with 3 timeouts left, all you need to do is drive down the field 7 more times, complete all the 2-point conversions, and you're looking at a 1-ball game there, hoping that your defense stops the Tigers' offense every time. I'm sorry, I just can't say that without laughing, because that is too much of a joke. But seriously, the Patriots getting some points on the board, always a good sign, gets the crowd into it, and it's just good for football when it gets more competitive.
It is a little bit far-fetched to assume that they might come back in this one. As you said before, they've been pretty much neutralized in this ball game, so to expect to come out and score 7 straight touchdowns and to have no points coming out of the Tigers, and to do it all inside 11 minutes, not very likely. So the clock running down now inside 10 minutes. The Tigers still likely, despite giving up the touchdown, looking at a win in the win column tonight.
A win in the win column, Jordan.
A
You've
win
really
in the
done
win
it this
column.
time.
I have. 56-6 the score here tonight. If you're just joining us, I'm Jordan Wood, joined by Kyle Cumberland. Josh Walker's running the camera tonight. Luke Rule and Blake Heisey running graphics for us, keeping you guys up to date on the things that we forget to mention. So now we'll see Quincy Scott on, ready to boot it off once again. It'll be a little onside kick, and the Tigers will fall on it. A good job there to scoop that one up and make sure it doesn't go anywhere. So the Tigers will have pretty good field position here to start this next drive.
The onside kick, it's always hard to complete those in the NFL when the completion rate is so low, just 1 for 12 made on the season. And now in high school, it's just harder to even ask that for your kicker. But they did, they tried, and the Tigers are going to have good field position with Tommy Locke leading the offense, maybe trying to put a touchdown up to negate theirs, the one that Jay just got, getting to the 60s for the first time this whole season for the Tigers.
Clock running down now inside 8 minutes and 50 seconds for the Tigers getting ready to start this next drive. Locke and Johnson in the backfield, several receivers out there for Lee Summit. There'll be a handoff to Johnson up the middle, likely just wanting to chew some clock. He'll be brought down, though, after a gain of about 2, so not much doing out of that play.
No, not a whole lot, but again, points just to drain the clock out. I mean, even Truman, after that touchdown, they decided to burn some clock, so it kind of shows their intention with how the ball game's been going. And now you can see the junior varsity looking out at Tommy Locke as he receives a play call from his coach. And there you go, they turn around, ready to play some football.
So likely the Tigers will be content here with the 50-point lead, not one to put more points on the board. I think they trust the defense despite giving up that touchdown on the last play. Oh!
What the heck?
And a big hit there. They looked like they had him wrapped up. They'll pick up the receiver there and throw him to the ground. Some oohs and ahs coming from the Truman side of things and some frustration coming from the Lee Summit side of things.
Patrick Martin just thought it was necessary to bring him to the ground. Not really sure what you're doing there, Mr. Martin, when you're losing by 50, maybe a power move, but I don't know if I respect that. Tigers still got 3rd and 11, and with Tommy Locke, I hope to pick this one up.
A little bit of a body slam we saw there on that last tackle. Man in motion here for the Tigers. They'll fumble the handoff. A good job there to just fall on the ball. Looked like the man in motion that time for the Tigers was Timmy Belt, JT. He doesn't really like people calling him Jimmy Timmy. That's normally just an inside joke between me and him. But JT, unable to get the ball cleanly there on the handoff, and the Tigers will be forced to punt here on 4th and 17. So we'll see the return here of Kaya Tupino and that big leg of his. And we'll see here how the Patriots are able to return this one, try to give themselves some good field position as we are now inside 7 minutes. Tupino will fake the punt. He played snaps at quarterback last year for the Tigers. Not much comes out of it. They'll be tackled at about the line of scrimmage. I was kind of going into autopilot there, trying to find out who the return man back was. Tupino pulled a fast one, threw it over to the left-hand side, but not much going for the Tigers, as now the Patriots will take over once again.
Patriots will. We saw what they did last time. 6:19 and ticking with the clock running here in the 4th quarter. We'll see if they're just going to try and run out, waste some clock, or if they're going to go for that big play overhand. Zane Anderson, like we said, not the most accurate arm, not the biggest, able to make a play on that last drive. We'll see what he's got cooking up here.
We have seen improvements out of Truman all night long. We'll give him credit for that. Not a lot of points on the board, obviously, only scoring here against the second stringers. But they have improved as the game has gone on, from not moving the chains at all to getting some yardage. This guy's been a big part of it. Townsend again on the run, pushing it over to that right-hand side. He's fumbled the ball his last 2 runs prior to that one. So a good job there of him just holding on to the ball, making sure we go back to basics here, as that's priority number 1, not letting anyone take that ball away from you.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're up by so much, you just want to make sure you don't make the mistakes. You don't need the big plays, but you just want to mitigate those mistakes. And I think one thing the Tigers done really well that we haven't really talked about a lot tonight is those penalties. I mean, 2 in the first half, none so far in the second. They've done a phenomenal job about making sure they haven't made stupid mistakes.
They have. We've seen that's been a big problem for Lee Summit to this point in the season. The pass is thrown over to the right-hand side. Looks like it's caught by Drake Hawley. So they'll move the chains. Something we have seen out of the Tigers this year is they do have a lot of penalties thrown against them. As you mentioned before, none in this second half, only 2 in the first half. We've seen a very clean football game really out of both teams to this point.
Yes, we have. I'd like to give you an update on the playoff picture. A chance for the Tigers to go into another home game for the season. It looks like it's going to come to an end as the Rockhurst Hawklets are beating the Jeff City Jays 23-3, and that looks like it's going to seal them up, the 4th spot. So the Tigers will be traveling for their next playoff game.
Handoff here to Townsend, jumping away, trying to get away from one. That's likely why you're fumbling the ball a little bit. They're trying to spring the ball out, pick up some extra yards on the spot. And really, at this point, it doesn't matter. 2nd and 6, not getting a whole lot of yards out of it regardless. I would just tell Townsend, if I was the coach, to just hang on to that football. But then again, we're up here in this booth for a reason and not down on the field. A lot of these coaches, they've forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. So we do have to give them credit while we're up here. Criticism needs to be light on these guys.
That is true. We are unathletic, and for that reason, we like to talk about sports instead of play them.
Speak for yourself, Kyle. I am on the varsity golf team, for anyone wondering. Handoff here goes to the right-hand side. Nothing doing. So we will see. It looked like Townsend injured on the play, hobbling off away from the tackle. So now it'll be 30. Fall into their knees. He's rolling around on the ground in a lot of pain.
It's never what you want to see, especially when it's your star player, been getting all the carries, really carried the team, made a couple mistakes tonight, but can you blame them when you call on your name so much? It's like there's going to be some mistakes. They've kind of run them into the ground, like the 2013 Kansas City Chiefs with Jamal Charles, and it's not been a good sight for him right now. Players and coaches telling him on the field.
Earlier, I did see him over on the sidelines stretching out that left leg, and now that looks to be the one that they're tending to right around the knee. I didn't really think anything of it or mention it in the booth because I didn't think it was a whole lot, maybe just some tightness, but it looks like it has become a problem, whatever it is. And the stadium is really falling quiet as they wait and hope that Townsend gets up.
I mean, this is Truman's playoff right here. I mean, they don't have a lot of hope going into it, but the hope that they do have relies on their run game, and with him going down, it's one of those things. If you felt an injury in a blowout game, you might as well just sit it out, knowing that you have to be healthy for the playoffs, and this might be a big potential problem for the Truman Patriots going into the playoffs.
Whenever you come into this game, you're 1-7. You don't have a lot going for you already. You're running with a defensive end at the halfback position, and this time just looks like maybe overuse, and he ends up getting hurt. That's going to happen the more and more that you're running the ball.
And it looks like he's going to be helped to his feet. That's always a good sign as long as he can walk on it. He's definitely going to hobble off. Not a lot of help as he goes to the sideline. And the cheerleaders, the crowd, you can hear cheers, some claps. Not a lot of them. There's not a lot of them tonight, but the ones they do have are happy to see their star running back up in action as he'll get tended to on the sidelines. And we'll bring you the news as we get it.
So it is good to see that he is walking off on his own power, especially after the pain that he appeared to be in on the sideline. Really sad to see, especially whenever he's in his senior season. You don't have a lot of high school football games, 9 weeks in a season, and to go out on an injury right before the playoffs here start at the end of the year, that's very frustrating to see, especially if you're the Patriots, but mostly for Townsend, probably the most frustrated after all of that. Handoff here, or the snap goes a little awry. It'll be picked up by the Patriots, and then Brennan Klaus comes in with a WWE-style tackle, bringing him down around the shoulders. And a big loss by Nate Clemens there after the snap goes a little off.
Brennan Klaus was put in last game. It's the Liberty Blue Jays, or the Liberty North Eagles, excuse me. Even the JV team couldn't do much to stop them towards the end of the game, but coming in with that tackle there, it's definitely a high right wheel for sure. Might want to put that in his huddle if he has one.
And now 4th and 24. A long ways to go here for the Patriots. And and they will go for it. So the snap a little high, but corralled this time by Anderson. Looks to pass, pump fakes. Caleb Keith chasing him down. Some encouragement coming in from the sideline. If you're a Lee Summit student, you likely know who Caleb Keith is. In his senior year coming out here getting to play, they get very excited whenever they see him go in there getting after the quarterback.
I mean, not even a Lee Summit student, just a citizen of Lee Summit, you know who Caleb Keith is. He was able to scare, I mean, when you see that big guy coming after you, I mean, any big guy, Felix Aney, DK, Trent Fell, I mean, quarterback just knew he had to throw it away and just threw it to about the 20-yard line.
It fell incomplete, so the Tigers will take over once again. Only 1:24 to go here in the ball game. The second half has gone by very quickly. It's been a blast up here in the booth. The Tigers look like they'll just be here in victory formation with 4 guys in the backfield. Locke will take it and just go ahead and take a knee here. A big loss of yardage, but obviously not really the concern, especially when you're up 50 points and you can just go ahead and run the clock out here on this last drive.
It's the second time in the season the Tigers have been up by 50 points, so they know how to react in situations like this. And they're just going to kneel it out as the cheerleaders cheer on the substitutes for Patriots.
Hard to cheer them on and keep your spirit high whenever you're on those sidelines or over in the student section for the Patriots. The Tigers will go ahead and start the classic "I believe that we just won" chant, as now the Tigers take another kneel. 50-point ball game. The Tigers came to Bud Herzog Stadium, the last game of the season, in a major win here. The student section going crazy once again. The Tigers have done a great job here at home whenever they need to win ball games against teams that they should be beating. They've done so. So now the clock will go ahead and run out as the players are high-fiving each other in the middle of the field. We'll take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll wrap things up here from Bud Herzog Stadium.
Today is a new day. A day we've been waiting for our whole lives. We've put in the work to get to this moment, to have this opportunity to come together as a team. Everyone knows KC is on the rise, but what they don't know is we're just getting started.
Community America, powering the rise of Kansas City.
Gear up for back to sport at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
When it comes to SUVs, nothing beats Honda. U.S. News and World Report's best SUV brand 4 years in a row, including the 2019 Honda Pilot, one of the millions of Hondas built here in America since 1982. Or the 2019 CR-V, a crossover car and driver calls a better value than the RAV4. And right now, get Pilot with 1.9% APR financing for well-qualified buyers. For more offers, visit kchondadealers.com today.
And we're back here from Bud Herzog Stadium. I thought I was talking there for a little while, but I had the mic muted. That's my fault. I'm joined in the booth still by Kyle Cumberland. We'll add 2 new members here for the post-game show, Blake Heisey and Luke Rule. Before we go into the playoffs here, we'll start with Blake. You haven't had a chance to talk all year on the broadcast. Your first time joining us in the booth. What did you like to see from this Tigers team tonight? What was the biggest thing that you liked out of them going into the playoffs this year?
They were really able to implement, Darius into the offense, and then they were also able to get the JV guys out there, get them some time. So, it's always great to see them, see the future, and the program's just, they're going to good new places. So, yeah.
So we'll go to Luke next. Speaking of the future, we got to see a look again at Tommy Locke, Jalen Johnson, a couple of those extra guys out there that you don't see a lot because they're not first stringers. What do you think about the future of the program after seeing them come out and put some points on the board, and then the defense coming out and locking down this Truman offense for the most part?
The future's bright, Jordan. Tommy Locke looked really clean. Besides that one interception he threw, he was able to hit all his targets. And Jalen Johnson, JJ, really making some solid runs up the middle, really breaking through the defense. Even if it was Truman, there's still a little bit of positives we can pull out of this.
And there, you have to take any opponent, regardless of who it is, and talk about them with some respect, because those guys on the D-line did a good job tonight. There's some big guys on that D-line for Truman. They just unable to handle the firepower that this Tigers team possesses. So now we'll go to Kyle. Kyle, we've kind of seen a little bit of a glimpse into the playoff picture. The Tigers putting some points on the board, likely able to earn themselves a 5th or 6th place seed. What are you most excited for watching whenever we come to playoff football? Is it the Tigers' defense or the offense?
I'd have to go, in this game especially, the defense. 2 interceptions early on in that first half, and then the 2 forced fumbles to start the second. They took the momentum out of Truman's sails, and any efforts they had were absolutely negated. You think about 4 of those turnovers, 3 out of the 4 of those, they were able to score on offense, putting up 21 points in total. That's a big game changer, and that defense has been phenomenal in this game, and I'll be looking to them, whoever they face. It looks like it's going to be Ray Peck, probably not Ray Peck, actually, Park Hill in the postseason. Park Hill better be worried because they got their work cut out for them with this Tigers D.
We have seen a lot of improvement from that Tigers defense week by week, and now, especially at the end of the season, we've seen some great performances coming out of them, coming in against a team last week, against Liberty North, who's averaging just under 50 points a game at around 46.6. They keep them under 40. That's something you like to see, keeping them under that average against a team that does have a lot of weapons very similar to the Tigers' defense and offense. So we'll see now in this next week the start of the playoffs for the Tigers. If we're able to, we'll give you coverage for those games. If not, it's been a great season. We've enjoyed every second of it up in this booth. We'll see you for basketball season. Signing out one last time here from Bud Herzog Stadium. I'm Jordan Wood, joined by Kyle Cumberland, Josh Walker, Blake Heisey, and Luke Rule. We'll see you next time.